feasted on Blue Jays pitching throughout his career, and he's homered in each of the last 2 games against Toronto. The Rangers hope for more offensive fireworks like that tonight on TXA 21 Friday Night Baseball. A 3-game losing streak as they take on the Toronto Blue Jays in the 2nd game of this 4-game weekend series. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Graves, Steve Busby. Glad you can join us for Friday Night Baseball here on TXA 21. The Rangers trying to get out of that offensive malaise. It's been a tough month so far in the month of June, but one thing they're doing well lately, and that's pitching well. And tonight, Justin Grimm going back out, a familiar foe as he worked against Toronto last time.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a tough road trip. He had a bad start in Boston, and the start in Toronto looks bad when you look at the numbers. 5 2/3, he gave up 4 runs. All 4 runs came in the 3rd inning, 3 of them on a home run by Adam Lind. But after that, I think he really made up for it. He ended up retiring 8 out of the last 9 guys. He pitched into the 6th inning, and he turned it into a pretty good start. He's been up and down a little bit, but I think when you look at his overall body of work as a rookie, he's definitely held his own, Buzz.
Well, certainly the Rangers are looking for another good start from their young right-hander. They've been lucky so far this year. A couple of rookies have really contributed a lot to the winning cause. The offense needs to get going. Leonis Martin and company trying to break out of a funk they have been in at home. We'll have the Rangers and Blue Jays right after this on TXA 21. is sponsored by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your Texas Ford dealer and drive the best-selling trucks for 36 straight years. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T U-verse TV. And by TXU Energy. The right things right now. 1-866-CALL-TXU. Oh, a nice Friday night crowd filing into Rangers ballpark in Arlington to see the Rangers play their 31st home game of the season. Nelly Cruz and company getting ready to go. And I want to remind you that, again, tonight we are participating in the Home Run Challenge. Tonight, every home run that is hit in this game raises $12,000 for prostate cancer research. You can help by making a pledge. You go online to homerunchallenge.org and you can participate in this great cause. Well, the Rangers out to the field, and we will take a look at the Blue Jays lineup that Justin Grimm is going to face tonight. Melky Cabrera, the left fielder, leads off. Jose Bautista is in right field. Batting third, the DH tonight, Edwin Encarnacion. Adam Lind is the cleanup man. In center field, Colby Erasmus. Iceris Duras bats sixth and plays third. The catcher is J.P. Arancibia. Batting eighth, playing second base, Emilio Bonifacio. And Munenori Kawasaki plays shortstop and bats ninth.
And we'll check out our scouting report for Justin Grimm. He's 5-4 on the season. His last two starts have pushed his ERA up above 5. 51 strikeouts, leads American League rookie pitchers. At home, a fine .284 ERA. 7 road starts, his ERA is right at 7. A lot had to do with the last road trip. 7 1/3, 12 hits, and 12 runs. A bad start in Boston, then the start we talked about in Toronto. He gave up 4 in the third and then pitched very well into the 6th inning after that. Hopefully he'll pick up where he left off and get off to a good start in this one tonight.
Now let's take a look at the Ranger defense very quickly. That's going to back up Justin Grimm tonight. Martin in left tonight. Gentry in center, Cruz in right. Chris McGinnis the start at first. Profar and Andrews up the middle. Beltry at third. Giovanni Soto is behind the plate. And if you're wondering where is Jeff Baker with the left-hander opposing the Rangers tonight, we'll explain that a little. He's got a little thumb injury that's keeping him out of the lineup. Eric Cooper calling the balls and strikes. Paul Schreiber at first. Chad Fairchild at second. The crew chief, Jeff Kellogg, is down at third. Now set to get underway. The Blue Jays come in 5th place in the American League East. They are 10.5 games behind the Boston Red Sox. Well, Melky Cabrera takes strike one at the knees. Cabrera, the switch hitter, .282 the average. Rim back to him, check swing foul, and it's 0-2. 93 degrees here at game time on a cloudy and very humid night. Boy, it's starting to feel a lot like the middle of summer. Still got another week or so before summer actually hits. Cabrera to right field. Going back is Cruz. He stops just shy of the warning track and makes the catch for out number 1. So Cabrera skies out. Now Jose Bautista. Well, Tom, you mentioned the last 2 starts for Justin Grimm. The one in Boston, it was really a matter, I think, of Justin Grimm going up against an extremely hot-hitting Boston Red Sox team in Fenway. And I think just watching Justin in that ballgame, I see if you agree with it, he might have gotten caught up in all the lore of Fenway and, the first experience for him pitching in that park, and it got away from him very quickly.
Yeah, and that could have been going through his mind. And the one thing that happened to him, he was facing a good hitting team, and he threw a lot of balls near the middle of the plate. They just didn't miss any of them. Sometimes you get away with a few, they pop them up, foul them off. But that particular day, if he made a bad pitch, they definitely hit it.
The breaking ball that's low and outside. Bautista leaning on it. It's 2 balls and a strike. And then he came back against Toronto. And other than that one inning that he gave up the home run to Lind in, he really threw the ball well.
Yeah, I like the way he finished in that game because he was coming off the game you just talked about in Boston. And now it's the 3rd inning, and he's already given up 4 runs. So you look at about 4 innings and 12 runs, and it would have been easy to just kind of crater in that game and find yourself out of there in the 3rd inning. But he came back and pitched almost 3 innings after that. And you just really had to kind of be proud of the way he finished that game because he had been struggling before that.
You saw the line for Justin Grimm, 5 hits in 5 2/3, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. 3-2, the count to Bautista. Payoff pitch, got him swinging. Good fastball down and away. And Justin Grimm racks up his first strikeout. 2 gone for Edwin Encarnacion.
Well, we're talking about the pitches in Boston. When you make this pitch 3-2, right on the outside corner, you get that kind of a swing from a really good hitter. When you locate it right down the middle of the plate, they take a little bit different swing, and the result's a little bit different too. So when you make those kind of pitches, you're going to be in pretty good shape.
And Bautista in that game in Toronto was 2 for 2 with a walk against Justin Grimm. So decidedly better outcome here in the early going. So curveball into Encarnacion. DH tonight, hitting at 267. Another good breaking ball. It is 0-2.
You know, in the past, it wouldn't be surprising to see a pitcher with a good ERA on the road and a bad ERA at home. But we've got a number of pitchers with good ERAs in this ballpark, and Justin's one of them.
0-2 pitch is grounded neatly out to shortstop. And Elvis Andrews triggers the throw across. That'll do it. So a good inning for Justin Grimm. A 12-pitch burst. He sends the Blue Jays in packing. We'll go to the bottom of the first inning. No score. Out in the first inning. Now the Rangers are coming to bat. A slightly revamped lineup tonight for Ron Washington's club. Jurickson, Profar leading off and playing at second base. Profar, Andrews, and Berkman, the first 3, to face the veteran left-hander Mark Burley. Fires a strike. It is 0-1. Profar hitting at 280. Couple of home runs, 7 driven in. Switch hitter up there from the right side. Off speed, it catches the outside corner, and it's 0-2.
Scouting report for Burley: losing record, an ERA over 5, 2 or fewer walks in 11 of his 13 starts. He has not pitched as well on the road as he has back in Toronto, by about 3 runs per start. Had a good start against the Rangers in Toronto, 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. And he's pitched a lot better in his last 6 starts than he did prior to that.
The 1-2 pitch. Tried to get that backdoor off-speed delivery. Couldn't quite do it. It's now 2-2 to Profar.
Burley's had good success against the Rangers. 12-5 against the Rangers in his career.
Right back to the Gold Glove, Mark Burley. Flags that down. On to first. 1 away. Elvis Andrews coming up. And here's the Rangers batting order tonight. You saw Profar. You will see Elvis as he steps to the plate. Lance Berkman bats third. Adrian Beltre plays third, bats fourth. Nelson Cruz in right field. Giovanni Soto catches. Chris McGinnis at first, hitting 7th. The center fielder is Craig Gentry, and the left fielder, Leonis Martin. Good to see Martin back in the lineup tonight after spraining his left wrist, trying to make a diving catch in the 8th inning of last night's ball game. Elvis takes a pitch tailing away for strike 1. 2 out of 13. for Elvis against Mark Burley. There's a rip and a miss. See Elvis in scuffling mode. He has really had some problems, as have most of the Ranger hitters in the last couple of weeks. It has not been a fun time to be on the offensive side of things for the Rangers. 1-2. Fouled straight down. And the count remains a ball and 2 strikes. Well, Mark Burley, a familiar foe to the Rangers. He has the best winning percentage against the Rangers of any other team that he has faced. Pitch to Elvis. Just a bit low. It's now 2-2. Burley in his career 12-5 in 18 starts against Texas. Swung on and foul tipped into the glove of Aaron Sebia. And Elvis is retired. There are 2 gone. Defensively, Cabrera, Erasmus, and Bautista in the outfield. Lind at first tonight. Bonifacio, Kawasaki up the middle. Isturis at third. Aaron Sebia is catching the veteran left-hander Mark Burley. So 2 up, 2 away. Here's Lance Berkman. First pitch to him is off the plate inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Berkman at .272 for the year. 5 home runs, 31 RBI. And ball 2 sails outside this time. Burley to the wide, the 2-0 pitch. Berkman taking all the way. It's a fastball strike, 2-1.
We mentioned this about Burley in Toronto, Buzz. 12 straight years he's thrown at least 200 innings, never missed a start. Never been on the DL. He's taken the ball every time it's been his turn and been a quality starter. Last year he was 13-13, 3.74 ERA.
Check swing and the appeal down to first. Paul Shriver said nope, he did not swing. It's 3-2.
Good call. He definitely held up.
The Lance trying to get aboard with 2 outs. Adrian Beltre will be next. Burley to the line, payoff pitch. Pulled foul. Hard but foul down the third base side. We'll come back and try it again. Burley's winning percentage .706 against the Rangers. Of course, he had that no-hitter against them. Again, the 3-2 popped him up. Kawasaki backpedaling into shallow left field. And that will do it. So the Rangers, like the Blue Jays, gone in order. 1 full inning in the books here in Arlington. Rangers nothing, Blue Jays nothing. Up TXA 21. Joel.
Hey, thanks, Buzz. Good crowd filling in tonight, braving the heat here in Community Corner. We're going to take a second to tell you a little bit about an event sponsored by TXA 21 and CBS 11. It's the 10th annual Stephanie's Day. This event is for special needs kids and their families. There'll be clowns and games, face painting, music, and more. And there'll be lots of great information about programs and services for the parents. Now, this will be tomorrow at North Park Center in Dallas, 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. You can find out more at txa21cares.com. Buzz?
All right, Joel, thank you. Adam Lynn leading things off for the Blue Jays here in the second inning. He pulls the 0-1 pitch foul. That moves the count to no balls and 2 strikes. Lynn, the longtime Ranger killer. .335 the average for the year. 6 home runs, 18 driven in. Called strike 3.
Well, you can't really locate your pitches much better than Justin is locating them so far in this game through 4 hitters. He's thrown 15 pitches. 12 of them have been strikes, but more than that, they've been quality strikes. That fastball right on the inside corner came after a good curveball that he kept down. So far, so good through 4 batters.
It was one of those little comeback two-seam fastballs that very well placed, and you could tell by the expression on Adam Lynn's face that he didn't disagree with the call, but he hated to see that pitch happen. Oh, 1 away. Here's Colby Erasmus. Ball 1 outside to the center fielder for the Blue Jays. Rasmus at .249. 10 home runs, 30 driven in. Rim back to him. Oh, ripping a good high fastball. It is 1-1.
That pitch tied him up, you could tell. Not a real comfortable swing for Rasmus right there.
Next pitch from Grimm. That's on the fist and pulled foul.
2 good fastballs in.
When you faced a pitcher back-to-back times, in other words, he started and then 4 or 5 days later, you faced him again. Did you hit off of him according to what you saw that first time?
If I had a good game against him, I assumed he might try something different.
Okay.
If I had a bad game, especially if I struck out a couple of times, I'm expecting he's going to probably try to do the same thing. That's just my logic involved with it.
You know, because people talk about, well, he's facing him back-to-back times, seeing it's a bad thing. And I think it's a good thing for a pitcher. You know, unless you just got lit up on everything you threw, and then it's
I think Buzz, it really, for a pitcher, the way I would look at it, it boils down to
Rasmus to right center field and deep. Going back is Gentry. He's at the wall and makes the catch as he backs into the paddock.
That's about as far as you can hit one and get it out in this ballpark. 406 feet to right center field. I always looked at it, if you're a pitcher and you've got good stuff, it doesn't matter whether you face me 3 or 4 straight times. If you make good pitches, you know me as a hitter, then I'm going to have a hard time getting a hit against it.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a plan against me as a hitter. And if you execute your pitches and you've got good stuff, pretty good chance I'm going to have a bad day.
No, that's a good point. Lyser Astures didn't wait around. He banged the first pitch he saw into right center field, and he becomes the first base runner here with 2 outs in the second inning.
But you could face a guy that you're 1 for 18 against and struck out 10 times, and if he throws you a couple of fastballs, doesn't have his good stuff right down the middle and hangs you a slider or 2, chances are you're going to have a pretty good day. He can't just show up to get me out. He's got to at least make it look good.
Do more than throw his glove out there.
I hope that's the case. But I guess there's times as a hitter too, you can go through a streak where you can't get a hit in batting practice.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter who you're facing.
Well, that's true. I was just thinking about that third pitch that Adam Lynn took. He had a 3-pitch strikeout. He looked surprised at that pitch a little bit, and I was thinking, well, that probably is a pitch he didn't see in that location the last time that he faced Justin Grimm. That fielder's choice will take care of things for Grimm and the Rangers here in the second. No runs a hit. 1 left after 1.5. No score on TXA 21. To Mark McLemore at 469-209-2121. If you read your text in the postgame show tonight, you'll win a $50 sporting goods gift card courtesy of Metro PCS. The text again, 469-209-2121. Burley going to work in the bottom of the second inning. Adrian Beltre, the cleanup hitter for the Rangers, takes low and inside for ball one. Adrian, an even 300 after a 1-for-4 last night. Hard ground ball. Kawasaki can't play it to his left. It goes into left center. Beltre, a turn, will hang on at first with a base hit.
Kawasaki looked like he was going to let that get by him and then chase the ball out to left field. I don't know if he could have thrown him out where he was going to be in position to catch this ball. He's backing up into the outfield, I guess, trying to get the hop.
Yeah.
Instead of coming across and getting the hop, he's going back. I don't know if he could have reached first base from where he was going to end up.
That might have been a case where the scouting report said Beltre is not running well. Take your time.
Yeah, I agree with it. I don't know that Adrian is running well, but I'm still not sure Kawasaki could have thrown him out from out there.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Didn't look like a real good route to that ball.
No, it is a base hit, first hit of the night, and just like last time the Rangers faced Burley, Beltre gets the first base knock off the left-hander. Nelly Cruz takes outside. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Cruz is 16th home run of the year last night. Opposite field shot in the second inning. Takes that pitch just on the inside corner. 2-1. Nelly, the team leader, with 44 RBI. 26 of his last 8 hits have gone for extra bases. Cued that one off the end of the bat, and the count evens at 2-2. Cruz over the years 0 for 12 against Mark Burley. Kind of guy that Nelly has a hard time zeroing in on. A lot of changeups, a lot of slow pitches away like that one as Nelly lunging. And then all of a sudden Burley will pop one inside and Nelly gets tied up on it. But that's true for a lot of hitters against Mark Burley.
Burley probably the closest pitcher today to Jamie Moyer.
Yeah.
The guy with a below average fastball who can still make you look extremely bad at the plate with his fastball.
3 balls and 2 strikes to Cruz. Nelly trying to get aboard to join Adrian Beltre. Giovanni Soto is waiting in the on-deck circle. Burley set. Payoff pitch is high. Ball 4. And there's a rarity. Mark Burley with the free pass. 2 aboard. Nobody out. Soto coming to the plate. Your Ford leaderboard tonight will put different slant on things for Mark Burley. Career innings pitched of the active pitchers in Major League Baseball. Andy Pettit leads everybody. Mark Burley is third there, right behind Tim Hudson.
When you look at Burley, Buzz, Burley's 34 years old. Jamie Moyer pitched into his 40s. He's never been hurt. He's never missed a start. You have to wonder how much longer he could pitch. He could probably pitch into his 40s. If he pitches 6 or 7 more years, he can win 250 games, 260 games.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a matter of if he's motivated to pitch that long.
0-1 pitch to Soto. Skied to right field. That ball's carrying pretty well. Bautista, though, has room. Beltre is going to tag at second. Bluff a move to third. The throw comes into second. Adrian has to scamper back under the tag by Kawasaki.
And that's a pretty good indication that Adrian's not feeling 100% running. And I think even with Bautista's strong arm, he does have a strong arm in right field. Most of the time you're going to tag up and go to third, but Adrian's not going to risk that injury,
right,
or being thrown out at third base for that matter right now.
So first and second with 1 out now. Chris McGinnis will step to the plate. McGinnis 1 for 3 last night, now a .211 average. His first half dozen games at the major league level. 0-1 the count as Burley drops one in at the knees. McGinnis, his first RBI came against these Blue Jays last week in Toronto. Up there with Beltre at second, Cruz at first. 1 ball, 1 strike now. Burley, the last 4 years, has won 13 games, exactly 13 games each year. Whether it was with the White Sox or the Marlins, or didn't matter. That's what he was putting on the board. Double play, ground ball to short. They turn it up the middle, and that'll do it for the Rangers. Another double play. They had a couple of them last night against Texas. Tonight, Eddie races a hit and a walk in the second inning. After 2 complete, no score on TXA 21. Source for live baseball everywhere you go. It's available for iPhone, iPad, Android, and BlackBerry 10. At Bat delivers Rangers baseball with live audio, pitch tracking, stats, news, highlights, and a lot more. Text at Bat to 31826 or visit TexasRangers.com for details. Third inning, and it will be the bottom 2 of the Blue Jay order to face Justin Grimm. Emilio Bonifacio lines one to center. That sends Craig Gentry back. Makes the grab. That is out number 1. As a clap of thunder is heard off.
Yeah. Didn't know there was any chance of anything like that tonight. It is a little dark down the right field line.
I just hope it stays that way.
Yeah. Don't mind the rain, just not on the ballpark.
Wind turned around a bit. Had been blowing in from right field, and now it's, as you can see, blowing in from left field. Here is Munenori Kawasaki, the shortstop. Takes a strike. Kawasaki filling in for the injured Jose Reyes, who apparently is just about ready to gear it up and get back into the lineup for the Blue Jays. He's been out since the early part of April. But Kawasaki has done a very good job for Toronto.
Hey, Kawasaki is going to have to go in and ask for a raise. He's playing a lot more than he thought he was going to play.
1-1 pitch to him. 2-1 now.
Kawasaki's not a huge threat at the plate, but he's walked 21 times.
Grimm's next pitch, inside, 3-1. And I don't know what it is about Kawasaki, but the Rangers have had trouble throwing strikes to him.
He's been up 131 times, so 21. He's walked 21 times, struck out 20. He's not much of a power threat, so he's not the kind of guy you're trying to pitch around or really be exceptionally careful to.
Taking that pitch all the way, and Grimm fires a belt-high strike. So the count is full now. Kawasaki trying to get aboard with 1 out. Melky Cabrera, the top of the order, waiting in the on-deck circle. Payoff pitch from Grimm. Ball 4. Now, last night, it hurt Darvish in the inning that Toronto scored their runs, and that third inning. Leadoff single by Bonifacio, then a walk to Kawasaki, and it opened the door for the run. And let's hope that Justin Grimm has a better fate here tonight after the one-out walk. Cabrera, a fly ball to right as he started the proceedings here tonight. And he loops one into right. Long run in for Nelly Cruz. Still coming. Makes the catch. Throws behind Kawasaki. But a little shortstop able to get back in time. Nice running catch by Nelly Cruz on that looper off the bat of Cabrera. That's out number 2.
Well, right, Justin jammed him a little bit. Ball didn't carry very much. Nelly looked like he's, right as he gets to the ball, he's ready to dive for that ball if he had to, but turned out he didn't have to.
So 2 outs. Jose Bautista struck out swinging his first time up there. And Grimm will send a little calling card first base way for Kawasaki. Bautista had 3 home runs in the 2 games just completed for the Blue Jays in Chicago. And a strike. That got his total up to 15 for the year.
A couple birthday wishes, Buzz. A belated birthday wish to Brad Wesley, 92 years old recently. And today is Nauta Faye Scoggins' birthday. She's 84. Happy birthday to Brad and Nauta.
Up the end of the bat, behind second base Profar will just step on the bag, and that will do it. So the walk does no damage whatsoever. Grimm and the Rangers out at the top of the third. We're going to the bottom of the third. No score in Arlington. Base hit tonight. Craig Gentry, the number 8 man, leads things off. And Mark Burley misses outside the tailing fastball. It is 1-0. Gentry at 225. Came into the game last night, went 0 for 1 as he took over defensively in the 8th inning and batted in the bottom of that frame. Burley misses low. It's 2-0. Gentry, as you saw, a home run, 9 RBI this year. Trying to get aboard to start the Ranger third against Burley. And ball 3 is low.
Very unusual. Go to 3-0 on the leadoff hitter after already walking a guy in the game.
Burley's next pitch, that's right down the middle, 3-1. Now Gentry trying to get aboard. Leonis Martin, the number 9 man, waits in the on-deck circle. Burley to the windup, 3-1 pitch. Gentry taken, it's 3-2. Gregg just 1 for 7 on this homestand. This is the 5th game at 3 with Cleveland. This is the second game against Toronto. Fly ball lifted to a left field. Cabrera almost dead in his tracks. Waits for it to come down. That is out number 1. Leonis Martin will be next. Folks, Texas Rangers baseball on TXA 21 is sponsored by SportsCityToyota.com.
How's that cloud's getting a little closer to us?
Yeah, it is.
It's starting to feel like it might sprinkle a little bit.
Can you smell the wet asphalt?
No, I can't quite do that. I can imagine it, though.
Yeah. Got a little tinge of wet asphalt in the air.
They're ready to go.
Leonis Martin, 257 with the average, 3 home runs, 10 RBI. Inside, 1-1 the count. See the numbers for Leonis, 311 on base percentage. Burley back to him, and a hard hit ball snared by Adam Lind at first. Look what I found.
Yeah, that's pretty much what you do. Stick your glove out and you hope it goes in it. There's a little bit of a short hop rather than a long hop, which made it a little bit easier, but that was definitely a smash by Leonis. A lot of places you could have hit that ball other than right at him. Looks like there's more air out there than there is fielders.
Like they say about trees in golf, 90% of the infield's all air.
Yeah.
But
doesn't seem that way sometimes.
Here's Jurickson Profar, and he takes strike 1. Profar, a tapper right back to the mound as he led things off here this evening.
At least in golf, the tree stays there.
That's true.
It doesn't react to where you hit the ball.
I don't know. Some of the trees I've hit,
you think they're moving?
I could have sworn they ran out there and grabbed it.
Just glad I didn't have to play. I never had to play that course they played on today.
Holy cow.
At least the way they've got it prepared. I think it would take you about 6 hours to play the round just to look for the ball in the rough. Unless you had spotters out there for you.
1-1 pitch. Slow roller to third base. Isturis. Throw to first, and Profar is retired. 2 gone. Or excuse me, that's a third out. My mistake. Burley and the Blue Jays done with the third. We'll go to the fourth. No score on TXA 21. We have AT&T trivia for you. The question we are posing tonight is, who are the only 5 players in MLB history to catch over 2,000 games?
That got the attention of Edwin Encarnacion. he saw that lightning, and he's not too thrilled about being in the batter's box right now, I'll tell you that. I don't blame him.
Yeah, I don't either.
You know, if it was a golf course, they'd be off the field right now.
Yep.
You see lightning or hear thunder, they take you off. They take you right off the field, and that's a tough call for an umpire. You know, the crew chief has a call to make, and you generally try to play if it's at all possible. But that doesn't lessen the agony of being out there, especially if you're one of the fielders out there for 15 minutes.
Encarnacion, a high fly ball twisting down the right field line. Long run for Cruz. It's a fair ball and one hop into the triangle out there. Well, Encarnacion hit it right down the right field line, and he will get a ground rule double to lead off the Blue Jay fourth inning.
Yeah, so that's a ball you don't see a lot in this ballpark. The ground rule double right down the right field line. It was a high fly. Nelly was just playing over in right center field, and just no way he could get to it. Takes that bounce and goes right into the stands. Souvenir. We'll see if Justin can pitch around that.
For the first time tonight, the Blue Jays have had a runner in scoring position. And Adam Lind jerks the first pitch foul down the first base side. It is 0-1. Lind called out on strikes on 3 pitches, as a matter of fact, back in the first inning. Or I should say second inning, as he led off. Encarnacion the lead from second. Grimm checks him a couple of times. Out of play to the left. And it's 0-2.
A little bit of a defensive swing at that fastball. He came right at him. 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Justin's kept his curveball down well in this game. Got a few of them up. Notably one to Adam Lind that he hit out of the ballpark. 3-run homer in the third inning of that game in Toronto.
See, Adam Lind, the month of June, has just been tearing it up. 0-2 pitch. Ground ball through the hole on the left side, a base hit. Encarnacion will stop at third as he had to hold up to make sure that ball went through. And that'll be runners at the corners and nobody out for Colby Rasmus. Before Rasmus steps in, let's say hello to Joel Thomas again. Joel?
Hey, thanks, Buzz. Got big news on a deadline coming up Monday for folks who want to watch the Rangers finish off the season and even get to the postseason. Joining me is Paige Farragut, Vice President of Ticket Sales, and big cutoff day on Monday, right?
Yes, we've got until Monday to sell our prorated half and full season ticket plans, and you get guaranteed postseason options. And the way you do that is by calling 972-RANGERS or go to TexasRangers.com.
And you get to keep the same seat that you have for the postseason, right?
That is correct. Full and half season plans get either every game in the Strip or every other game.
That's reason enough to want to order Rangers tickets right there, Buzz.
All right, Joel, thank you. The runners at first and third with nobody out here in the fourth inning. Colby Rasmus, after fouling off the first pitch, is down in the count, 0-1. Rasmus had a fly ball to center his first time up. Rangers in the middle looking for 2, and a chop foul here. It's 0-2. Right now, Justin Grimm looking for a punch out.
Definitely. Rasmus is a little bit prone to the punch out. He's a guy that if he plays every day, he's going to strike out 150, 160 times. And right now, if you're a pitcher, you're not pitching to contact. You're going for the strikeout right here.
0-2 pitch. Hit well to right field. Going back is Cruz. It's over his head. It is gone. Into the lower home run porch. A 3-run bomb on an 0-2 pitch. And the Blue Jays take a 3-0 lead.
That's a second straight base hit on an 0-2 pitch. He had Lind 0-2. Threw him a fastball. He got a single. And he's been throwing Rasmus in the first at bat and that at bat. So Rasmus has to be aware of that. As you've said many times, Buzz, in that situation, you've seen the fastball in, it's 0-2, in for a strike. Well, that's not even in. In for a strike is not good enough. You got to bury it off the plate inside to jam him, and that was just a bad pitch.
And it cost Justin Grimm and the Rangers 3 runs. That ball off the bottom part of that railing out there. So a double, single, 3-run home run. Rasmus with the 11 home runs now and 33 RBI, and the Blue Jays out in front 3-0. Well, Mycer Asturias now, who singled his first time up there, looks at strike 1.
That's an at bat. You've got a good chance to get him to get the strikeout, but you got to make the pitch. You just didn't make the pitch. Got a second. Want to say a shout out to George Atkinson, World War II veteran, 94 years old, in a nursing home in Itasca, Texas.
Swing and a miss, and Asturias gone on strikes.
And that's locating the curveball right there. One of George's greatest pleasures is watching Rangers baseball with his wife of 72 years. So, George, hope you're watching tonight. Hope you like that curveball right there from Justin Grimm. They got the strikeout of Maicer Izturis.
No, one gone. Here is JP Arancibia. And he hits a towering drive. That is deep to left center. Leonis Martin back at the wall. He leaps up, and it is gone. Martin at the wall, leaped as high as he could. The ball over his glove into the Blue Jays bullpen. And Arancibia, with his 13th home run of the year, makes it a 4-0 Toronto lead.
Arancibia is a little bit like Rasmus in the regard that they've got power, and if you make a mistake, they can make you pay for it. And there's a belt-high fastball right in the middle of the plate, and Arancibia made him pay for it. Early in the game, Justin was making great pitches, keeping his curveball down, locating his fastball, but in this inning has not been able to do that. Fastballs, hittable fastballs, have really hurt him for 2 home runs.
1-0 pitch. That is smacked by McGinnis down the right field line. Bonifacio will turn at first, hang on with a base hit. So Bonifacio, the 5th hit of this inning. Still just 1 out. He is aboard for Kawasaki.
He needed about another 2 feet to be able to take that home run back. Didn't make it by much, but it made it.
Kawasaki stepping in, walked his first time up there. So Grimm having one of those innings where he's got to find a way to put the brakes on it. We've got people now scrambling for covers. It's starting to rain here at Rangers Ballpark. Folks headed up the aisles and to get under cover. Doesn't look like it's much, but just enough to dampen things a bit.
As long as it doesn't get any worse, they won't have to stop play.
Throw to second, and they got him. Great tag by Elvis Andrus to slap it on as Emilio Bonifacio diving by head first. And Elvis got him right on the leg.
It looks a lot closer. In real life, looked like the tag was down on the leg and the hand got in, but when you see the tag, it's almost simultaneously the tag and the right hand touching the base.
1-0 pitch now to Kawasaki. By the mound, charging Elvis. Throws in one motion as he picks it up, and that'll do it. But the Blue Jays come up with a couple of home runs. They score 4 runs on 5 hits. Nobody left. Bottom of the 4th now. Rangers trailing 4-0. For tonight, you'll remember we asked who are the only 5 players in MLB history to catch over 2,000 games. And the answers would be Pudge, of course, leading with 2,427. The other Pudge, Carlton Fisk, is next, then Bob Boone, Gary Carter, and Jason Kendall.
I thought Sonny was in that group.
Sonny is, I think he's 6th on that, on that list. I think so.
Must be right around 2,000.
Yeah. There's the Rangers senior executive vice president, Jim Sundberg. Elvis Andrus leading things off. He's behind in the count now to Mark Burley. No balls and 2 strikes. So a 4 spot, a crooked number for the Blue Jays in the top of the 4th. Elvis hits a 2-hopper to Myceres Torres. Long throw. Elvis retired. That is out number 1 in the Ranger 4th inning. Now Lance Berkman will come up. Berkman popped out to shortstop against Burley the first time. Lance brings in a 4-game hitting streak. During that span, he's a .357 hitter. Pitch outside to him for ball 1. Burley back to the plate. 2 balls and no strikes.
Word from the truck, Sonny is 8th, 1,927 games, so he's very close to 2,000.
I just got a text from Jim Sundberg. He knew that we were doing a catching stat. He wanted to know what that stat said. He doesn't trust us. See, he thinks we were getting all over him about something.
No.
This was complimentary.
Yeah, I thought he had 2,000.
Yeah.
Hey, if you've caught the 8th most games in the history of Major League Baseball as a catcher, you've had a great career.
Yes, you have. And he did with 6 Gold Gloves. Berkman up the middle. Behind the bag is knocked down by Bonifacio and no play. Berkman will be aboard with a rocket up the middle off the mound. Yeah, Burley's lucky he didn't get that on the foot or something.
We kid around a lot with Sonny, but one thing we would never kid around is his career. He was a great catcher. Yeah, that might have turned into an out if Bonifacio could have caught that ball.
Yeah.
Because it was a hard hit ball. I don't know if Bonifacio could have gotten in position to throw or not. But if he did, he would have had a web gem, that's for sure.
Second Ranger hit of the night. The man with the other one is Adrian Beltre. And he drives one to right center field, but that's not carrying as Colby Rasmus back into the alley makes the grab. Back to first goes Berkman. That's out number 2. That looked good coming off the bat, but
I think he hit it off the end of the bat. He had the right swing, the right trajectory. The ball just didn't hit the right part of the bat.
2 gone now. Burley will work to Nelson Cruz.
With Adrian's strength in that swing, if he hit that ball well, it would have gone a little bit farther than that. Maybe far enough to be a home run.
Breaking ball, and that nibbles on the inside corner for a strike. It's 0-1. Nelly drew a walk in the second inning. It's the only free pass that Burley has issued. In the dirt. And Aaron Seaby able to block that. A couple more rumbles of thunder, and you saw a little flash of lightning. One ball, 1 strike. Well, he started to go after it, checked his swing, and it was a strike anyway. He was kind of a disbelieving conversation with Eric Cooper.
Well, technically, that's a strike. Sometimes it's called, sometimes it's not. You're not going to have a hitter too thrilled with a call, no matter what he sees after the game.
Call strike 3. That was a pretty good pitch, and now he's still going to have a little conversation with Cooper. Rangers gone in the 4th, no runs a hit, they lead 1. 5th inning coming up, 4-0 Toronto, TXA 21. sponsored by Standard Insurance. Call 1-800-929-2424. Nice Friday night crowd at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. Rangers averaging just over 39,000, the best in the American League. Back to the hill, Justin Grimm, who had a tough fourth inning, gave up 4 runs, a couple of home runs, and now will face the top of the order. It'll be Melky Cabrera to start things off. Cabrera, a couple of fly balls to right field. Ball 1 is outside. Grimm back to him. Deals a strike right on the outside corner. Now the 1-1 pitch. 2-1. Cabrera ends in a modest 3-game hitting streak to this contest. He was 1 out of 4 last night. Pops this one up on the right side. Foul territory. Chris McGinnis, the first baseman, just stepping onto the warning track. That is out number 1. Well, earlier this afternoon, Colby Lewis out getting a little work in. It's good to see Colby not only in uniform, but getting some throwing in out in the Ranger bullpen.
Yeah, Colby reported after throwing that everything went well. He felt fine. Josh Frazier was catching him. He was standing up kind of a little bit in front of the plate, so I guess he was throwing, 58 or 59 feet rather than the full 60 feet 6 inches. But he reported he felt fine. Everything went in the right direction. So hopefully it won't be long before Colby's back out throwing for real.
Yeah, Colby had a little bout of some soreness in that elbow, but that apparently has gone by the wayside now. One of those things when you start coming back from arm injuries, and you always wonder if it's going to hurt the same way that it did before. Check swing, the appeal to first, and no swing, says Paul Schreiber. And that probably is the more difficult aspect to get over than the actual injury itself. Is this thing going to hurt again when I throw?
Yeah, exactly. I was never a pitcher, but that would be going through my mind. When can you let it go and feel confident that you're not going to hurt it again? Yeah, I mean, you have to get over that hurdle, right?
You do. You have to get to the point where you get so tired of rehabbing it, you say, the heck with it. I'm going to let it go.
Got nothing to lose now.
And that's exactly right. I'm tired of doing this. If it falls off, it falls off.
Yep.
And if not, I'll be okay.
There's Joaquin Soria. A little bit further along right now, it sounds, than Colby, but both of those guys, as you just said, Buzz, I'm sure they've had their fill of rehab.
Jose Bautista's had his fill of that hook. He will go back to the dugout and think about it. That's out number 2 and the 4th strikeout for Justin Grimm. Anytime you see that hitter, that front shoulder kind of go back over his back pocket, you know you got him. And there's a breaking ball to Edwin Encarnacion that zips in for strike 1. Encarnacion got that 4-run 4th inning started with a fly ball double into the right field corner. Hammers this one to left field. Over the head of Leonis Martin, off the wall. Martin, the throw into second. Nobody's at the bag as Profar was going out almost to the into the skin of the infield.
I guess with our outfielders, you never want to leave the bag because you never know when they're going to launch a throw that's going to get a guy out of nowhere. That might have been a little bit of a stretch because if that ball bounced back off the wall to him directly, he might have had a better chance, but it kind of just trickles back to him. He has to take a little time getting rid of it. Well, we've seen some great throws to nail runners this year.
You're right. The second double of the night for Encarnacion, so he's in scoring position with 2 outs. Adam Lind, who singled to left in the 4th inning, will come up. He is 1 for 2. Pitch from Justin Grimm is inside. Fastball cutting off the plate. 1 ball, no strikes.
That's the ball he wanted to throw to Rasmus. 0-2. Get that ball, make it cut a little bit, and run in on him.
Right.
When Rasmus just stayed right in the middle, inside middle of the plate.
Next pitch, breaking ball, waved out and missed. Boy, Grimm's got a good hook, and he missed that thing down like that tonight. One and one the count. Grimm getting the sign from Giovanni Soto. And now can't get together on what they want to throw. So Soto says, let's recycle those a bit. Encarnacion getting the lead at second. And Grimm says, yeah, that's the one I want. Pitch on the way. The other way, it's a fair ball down the left field line. Encarnacion will score. Going for two is Lynn. The throw is on the money. He is out at second base.
What a throw.
Leonis Martin again gunning down a base runner. This time he gets Adam Lynn at second. And that will do it for the Blue Jays, but the run counts.
That's why you don't
Toronto
leave the bag.
Another run on 2 hits. Nobody left. Halfway through the game, Toronto by 5. Sponsored by your Texas Ford dealer. Visit your Texas Ford dealer and drive the best-selling trucks for 36 straight years. Ford is the best in Texas. Giovanni Soto starting off the Rangers' 5th inning, and he skies one to pretty deep center field, but Rasmus, with room in front of the track, stops to put it away, and that is out number 1.
There's another throw, Buzz, and that's why you don't leave the bag with these guys throwing, especially Martin. There might be a couple of guys in the league that can challenge him, but for my money, there's not a guy in the league with a stronger arm than Martin. Bautista's got a strong arm for the Blue Jays, but I'm not sure he can match up with Martin.
Chris McGinnis grounded into a double play his first time up against Burley. He takes ball 1 outside. You know, Leonis also has shown an incredibly accurate arm from the outfield.
Yeah, that was not a short throw either.
No.
That was a long throw from fairly deep left field, right on the line.
Two balls, no strikes to count. Burley back to the plate and misses low. It's 3-0 now to McGinnis. But Chris trying to get aboard, get something going for the Rangers here in the 5th inning. Greg Gentry will be next. Strike to the outside corner makes it 3-1. Burley on a warm and humid night has been given a 5-run advantage. He deals strike 2. 85 degrees has dropped some 7 or 8 degrees since first pitch. Got him swinging. Well, Burley comes back from a 3-0 count to get the punch out. 2 gone, his 3rd strikeout of the evening. And Craig Gentry coming up.
Well, if he threw that last pitch on any of the two previous pitches, he would have walked them. But he worked the count to 3-2 and then couldn't lay off the slider that was slightly out of the strike zone.
So now Craig Gentry, who flied out to left field his first time up. Backdoor hook. It is 0-1. Craig at 223. Another Ranger that has been scuffling of late. Just 4 for his last 31 trips to the plate. The 1-1 pitch. 2-1 the count. Burley is always working quickly. This is high. 3-1 to Gentry. Craig trying to get aboard with 2 outs. Leonis Martin would be next if Gentry can prolong the inning. Down the right side, that will twist back into the seats and out of play. It fills the count at 3-2. Gentry back in. Burley on top of the hill. Into the wind he goes. And the left-hander deals. Breaking ball. Close. Strike 3. Gentry having words for Eric Cooper as he walks away. And back-to-back strikeouts. 4 in the game now for Mark Burley. We'll go to the 6th inning here in Arlington. It's the Blue Jays 5, the Rangers nothing on TXA 21. Up to 45%, and you get 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, and 4 Cokes, plus 2 kids' wrist zone bands, and 1 souvenir program. Order your Coca-Cola family pack for any non-premier game, including the upcoming series against the A's, at TexasRangers.com/specials. Justin Grimm back to the hill, and he deals to Colby Erasmus, who put a big dent in Justin Grimm's evening with a 3-run home run in the 4th inning. It'll be Erasmus, Isturis, and Aaron Sebia. Pitch outside. It is 1-1 to Erasmus. Colby Erasmus now 11 home runs, 33 driven in. Chopper to first. McGinnis will take it to the bag himself. He beats Rasmus by a couple of steps. And that is out one number 1 before Isturis steps in. Let's say hello once again to Joel Thomas. Joel?
Hey, thanks, Buzz. I want to show you a giveaway we have for next Tuesday's game against the Oakland A's. Morgan, the intern here, has the Coca-Cola pitcher giveaway. Turn it around, Morgan. It's got the Texas Rangers logo and 4 cups inside, each with a pitcher's name on it. So instead of pitchers and catchers, it's pitchers and pitcher cups. Plenty of tickets still available for Tuesday night game against the A's. Go to 972 Rangers or go to TexasRangers.com. Buzz?
All right, Joel, thank you. Isurus takes the pitch inside. It's now 2 balls and no strikes. Isurus is singled and struck out. Toronto leading 5-0. They have out hit the Rangers 8-2. Line drive to right center, moving to his right. Nelly Cruz tracks it down. And there are 2 away for J.P. Arancibia.
Enter J.P. Arancibia.
Justin Grimm with the first 2 outs here in the 6th. And now Arancibia, who had a towering home run into the bullpen in left center field. Last time up, that snapped an 0 for 12 streak that he was mired in. Goes to right field, and Nelly Cruz coming on now stops. That ball doing some funny things going out there to him, but he's able to corral it. That'll do it. Blue Jays gone in order. Bottom of the 6th coming up. Toronto 5, Texas nothing. Slam inning brought to you by Sonic. Tonight, the jackpot is worth $1,000 and dinner for 2 at the Sonic Drive-In. Tonight, the Rangers are hitting for Deborah Ryan from Arlington. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam during this inning, Deborah Ryan from Arlington will win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Leonis Martin starting things off against Mark Burley. Tries to bunny his way aboard. And it is strike 1. Burley going away from him, and tough pitch to drag down the first base line. Leonis tried that once last night, but butted it right to the first baseman, Encarnacion. 0-1 pitch to him. Fouled off. And the count is 0-2. Well, here's the TXU Energy replay of the night. The Leonis Martin up there will show you a little defensive magic. The arm of Leonis Martin.
What a throw. I think I've been amazed by a throw from the Ranger outfield about 10 times this year.
If you just saw the end of that, I got to tell you, TXU Energy, the right things right now from TXU Energy. If you just saw the end of that replay, you would have thought he was 15 or 20 feet away making a throw to him.
I would have thought he was throwing it from shortstop.
Now Leonis gone on strikes, and Burley all of a sudden now has struck out 3 straight, 5 for the game. Back to the top of the order for Jurickson Profar. Profar 0 for 2 tonight. Grounded back to the pitcher and then tapped one to the third baseman, Isurus. Jurickson up there from the right side. The batting average now at .273 as Burley feeds him an off-speed pitch on the first offering for strike 1. Next pitch. That is high. A fastball missed. 1-1 to Profar. A little late swing and a miss. It is 1-2. That's what Burley can do to you. All of a sudden he just, he throws up that 85-mile-an-hour fastball after an assortment of off-speed pitches, and it's got to look like it's 105.
It does. You get swings like that. He's just carving through the Rangers right now.
The 1-2 to Profar.
Other than the home run by Baker, he pretty much did the same thing up in Toronto for 7 innings.
We were going to tell you about Jeff Baker, by the way. He is not available tonight, at least as a starter, and probably not coming off the bench for Ron Washington's club. He had a little thumb injury, and that's going to keep him sidelined tonight, and it'll be a day-to-day proposition for Jeff Baker. There's a loop on the right that's in for a base hit. So Profar going the other way, able to get just the third Ranger hit of the night off of Mark Burley.
Pretty good job. He missed that same pitch earlier in the bat, and that time he didn't try to pull the ball. He went with a pitch. That was Burley's fastball away. Nice job by the rookie lining that ball to right field. Rangers got a couple of men on and go for the long ball here to get back in the game.
1 on, 1 out. Elvis at the plate, 0 for 2 tonight. A strikeout, ground ball to third. And that pitch settles off the plate for ball 1. Andrus at 252 with the average. He reached base safely in his last 4 games. He takes that pitch inside, but just 4 for 12 coming into play tonight. Go back over the last 21 games for the better part of 4 weeks. Elvis is hitting just 190. Ahead of the count here, 2-0. Now 2-1 as Burley nails a strike to the outside corner. Profar first, establishing his lead. Elvis, a late swing and a miss. 2-2 now. Rangers entering play tonight 38-28. They have lost 3 in a row. They have not lost 4 in a row this year, and they're only one of only 3 teams in baseball that can say that. Elvis slices one to right. Long run over there for Bautista, but it's off the side wall, and the count remains 2-2. All-star voting. Elvis in second behind J.J. Hardy of the Baltimore Orioles. Peralta in third. Voting continuing. TexasRangers.com. You can vote up to 25 times. That's entirely permissible. Pitch inside. The count is full now. Well, with 1 out, Elvis trying to get aboard to join Profar. Lance Berkman, the Ranger DH, waiting in the on-deck circle. Burley sets. Payoff pitch. We'll try it again. Elvis having a little talk with himself now, steps back into the batter's box. Profar the lead from first. Burley okays the sign, again the 3-2. Call strike 3. Fastball came back to catch the inside corner. That is strikeout number 6 for Mark Burley.
Well, he's pitching him away. Elvis is trying to go away with pitches away, and then out of nowhere comes a pitch down and in. And doesn't look like a strike.
Yeah.
On that particular pitch, many times it shows that the umpire had made the correct call. That one looked like it was down and in. Looked like Elvis had a pretty legitimate beef on that one.
And we're going to get somebody thrown out of the game. Must be Elvis. The way that Beltre was standing over there trying to shield Elvis from home plate umpire Eric Cooper. And then Ron Washington immediately out of the dugout. But Elvis basically standing on the top step screaming at Eric Cooper. And Wash out there to try to protect Elvis as much as he can after the fact. Not much you can do about that before.
Well, one thing that will get you kicked out is you can't argue balls and strikes. But Elvis is not someone that gets kicked out of a lot of games. He just kind of reached his threshold right there. Thought the pitch was down and in. Pitch track seemed to verify that. And that's the result.
And you're dealing with a lot of frustration right now for the Ranger hitters, too.
Sure.
It's one thing if you've been playing extremely well, you kind of gloss that over probably. First pitch is ball 1 to Lance Berkman. Berkman, 1 for 2. Changeup floats outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Lance singled his last time up. That was in the 4th inning. First inning, he popped out to short. Bottom of the 6th inning. Blue Jays leading by a 5-0 count. 2-1 now to Berkman. Lance with that base hit now extends his hitting streak to 5 straight ball games. To right field, Bautista back into his left, makes the grab, and that will do it. Profar gets a single, but he's left stranded. We're going to the 7th inning in Arlington. The Blue Jays 5, the Rangers nothing on TXA 21. Jim McNatt Honda. Well, the rain threat appears to be finished, and Jurickson Profar has now changed positions. Elvis Andrus has been asked to vacate the premises. He'll go back up to the clubhouse and watch the rest of the game on TV or whatever. Leury Garcia comes into the game to take over in the number 2 spot in the batting order and at second base. And that moves Jurickson Profar from second over to short. 7th inning, Emilio Bonifacio to lead things off against Justin Grimm. Bonifacio 1 for 2. Ball 1 is a bit low from Grimm. Justin, as you can see, very modest pitch count. He's at 75 right now, 50 strikes, 25 balls. And he fires a strike at the knees. Grimm back to the plate. Ground ball to the right side. Off the glove of Garcia into right field. Bonifacio going for second. The throw will be late from Cruz. And it's probably going to be a 2-base error charged to Garcia.
Yeah,
nope.
Some time.
Going to be a double.
That's a double?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, he earned the double part of it with his speed, but I think the single part of it should have been an error.
Now Kawasaki bunts one out in front of the plate. Only play Soto has is to first base with Uri Garcia covering. Well, the sacrifice goes 2-4, and now Bonifacio at third with one out for the top of the order.
Thought about going to third, but would have been a bang play. Got to get one out. Goes to first to get the out.
So the Rangers now trailing by 5 with Bonifacio at third. Will pull the infield all the way in. Melky Cabrera, the hitter, is 0 for 3. That was after that first rim fastball. Fouling it back, it's 0-1. Cabrera, 2 fly balls to right and a foul pop to Chris McGinnis at first base. Another rip and a fastball, this one inside, and it's the same result, foul back to the screen. Now again, very much like the fourth inning when Justin Grimm had a runner at third with less than 2 out. He's going for the strikeout of Cabrera. He needs to make a good pitch on 0-2. Breaking ball hit weakly down the first baseline. The only play that McGinnis has is to tag Cabrera out. In to score is Bonifacio. About a 35-foot RBI out, and it's 6-0 Toronto.
He made such a good pitch with his curveball that's all that Cabrera could do is just hit a little tapper. Turns out to be effective. If he hit it harder, it might have been a play at the plate. Looks like a squeeze play practically the way that ball dribbled down to first base. That's a tough run to give up an earned run right there. Ground ball to second, a bunt out in front of the plate, and a dribble to first base.
Now Jose Bautista takes a strike to the outside corner. Bautista, a couple of strikeouts and a fielder's choice grounder tonight. Way outside. And the count evens at 1-1. The Blue Jays, very much like they did in Toronto, some big innings. Not a whole lot in the other innings, but put up a crooked number here tonight in the fourth inning, a 4 spot. And they've added 1 in the 5th and now 1 more here in the 7th. But most of the damage, 5 of the 9 hits given up by Justin Grimm came in that 4th inning. Beltre flags one down off his left hip. And that will do it. Let the Blue Jays get a run on a hit. Nobody left. Stretch time in Arlington. 6-0 Toronto. And please join us now as Chuck Morgan asks the crowd to honor America with the singing of God Bless America.
For armed services both at home and around the world. On this Flag Day, we invite you to join in singing God Bless America with Stacy Dyer.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Greetings to some of our servicemen over in Afghanistan watching tonight.
Well, that sign went up on the scoreboard on the Diamond Vision and got a standing ovation.
And rightfully so.
I hope the senior airman is watching right
Yep.
now. Thanks for your service and all your buddies watching with you.
Adrian Beltre starting off the Rangers 7th, and he hits a hot shot by the attempt of Emilio Bonifacio. Went down to one knee and was hoping to snag one. It just didn't happen. And Beltre, with his second hit of the night, is aboard.
Here's when they put it up on the scoreboard. Hope you're watching, Tanner. Got a whole stadium that's proud of you, especially the two ladies with the Ranger shirts on.
The 1-on, nobody out here is Nelson Cruz. Changeup floats low. 1 ball and no strikes. Now he'll walk in the second, as you see, was called out in the 4th inning. Beltre at first with a modest lead. And a double play ground ball hit the second. Kawasaki turns it over. 4-6-3 on the twin killing. The second double play turned tonight by Toronto. That is the 58th. Make that the 61st double play turned this year by the Toronto Blue Jays. Oh, 2 gone. Giovanni Soto coming up, and the Reliant bring the energy. Box score tonight, very abbreviated. 3 singles, or I should say 4 singles. 1 to Profar, 1 to Berkman, 2 to Beltre. That's it. And Soto takes a strike to the inside corner.
They need a little energy in the offense, Buzz.
It's been a rough go. Strike to Giovanni, 0-2.
And all you can do is keep plugging away, keep working, keep practicing, and keep coming out every day, and know eventually it's going to turn around. But while you're going through it, it's not fun.
The Rangers coming into play tonight had 12 straight games of fewer than 10 hits. And there's a called third strike. We'll recount a few more of those really bad statistics for you later on. A base hit, nobody left. We're going to the 8th inning. 6-0 Toronto. At only $11, and the offer savings of up to 50%. Group pricing is available in 7 different seating areas, plus the all-new, all-inclusive center field railing. Learn more about group savings. It's offered for every Rangers game at TexasRangers.com/groups. Justin Grimm back to the hill. And he is working here in the 8th inning to Edwin Encarnacion. Encarnacion has doubled each of his last 2 times up. Waves at an off-speed pitch. Grimm breaking that curveball off. It's 0-2. Encarnacion doubled to start the 4th. That turned into a 4-run inning. And he doubled with 2 outs in the 5th, and that turned into a 2-out run. Inside, 1-2 the count. So Encarnacion with that average now up to 271. And he laid off that breaking ball. 2-2. Grimm into the wind and misses high. 3-2 to Encarnacion. Not just the 90th pitch for Justin Grimm here in the 8th inning. Deep in the hole at short. Profar sets, fires, got it.
Oh, Justin breaking out a changeup to get Encarnacion right there, and Profar shows good hands on a tricky hop and nice strong arm from the hole. You want to be a big league shortstop and you're going to plant your foot from there, you've got to have that kind of arm strength to make that play, and he shows that he obviously does.
1 away, and Adam Lind, the first baseman, will step to the plate. Lind, like Encarnacion, 2 for 3. Lind drove in a run in the 5th inning, his 19th of the year. And he takes outside for ball 1. Six home runs for the first baseman, DH. He hammers one down the right field line, but it's hooking and goes foul.
Where'd that hit that guy?
Well, I think we're going to find out.
I hope it didn't hit him in the head. That ball took a right turn. It's going right straight at him. I don't know what it hit. Oh, it hit that guy in the chest, maybe?
It went through his hands. I knew that.
I thought for a minute it hit him right in the head. Oh, it hit the guy behind
him.
He jumped, blocked the guy's view. And they both fanned on it, basically.
2-1 pitch is skied to shallow right center field. Ray Gentry handles that for the second out. And now Colby Rasmus.
That's why you bring a glove, man.
They're discussing the strategy next time. Okay, next time you're in front.
Basically, that same ball could be hit 100 times, and he's not going to catch it. Not without a glove.
Not that far down, you're right.
It was hit a little too hard, had to reach a little too high. Degree of difficulty with the bare hands, based on the talent level, says probably not going to happen. Now with a glove, everything changes.
Colby Rasmus, that big 3-run home run in the 4th inning.
I'm just glad no one got hurt. Yeah. I thought for a minute it hit him right in the head.
Breaking ball inside and low. 2-0. Rasmus broke an 0 for 8 streak that he was in with that home run. Grimm to the wind. 2-0 pitch, pours in a strike. Fell high right down the middle.
Guys in the truck had a good suggestion. What they call that play, when it does hit someone in the head, they say he got Canseco. I'm going to start working that into the repertoire there.
Okay.
Anytime someone gets hit in the head, he got Canseco.
That's a good idea. When he's trying to catch the ball.
Right. Yeah.
Grimm with a 2-2 pitch. Check swing. Did he go? No. The appeal to third base. And Jeff Kellogg says, nope, he did not go around. Well, the count has filled out now to Colby Rasmus. If Rasmus extends the inning, Mycer Asturis would get an opportunity here in the 8th. Grimm okays the sign. The payoff pitch. Grounder just foul outside first. We'll come back and try it again. Rasmus back into the box. He is ready to go. So is Grimm. Again, the 3-2. And another chopper foul. Crowd of just over 37,200 on hand here tonight. Good crowd for Fireworks Friday at Rangers Ballpark. Got a couple more opportunities in this game for the Rangers to break out the fireworks. The offense is pretty sleepy. Again, the 3-2. Blowing inside.
I would beg to differ on that one. That pitch to Elvis is a strike. That's got to be a strike.
Mike Maddox going out to the mound. Oh, judge for yourself.
That could have been a strike. Borderline pitch. I mean, we see that pitch called a ball. We see it called a strike. Don't ever want to diminish how hard it is to call balls and strikes back there. It's easy for us to call them. We have the pitch tracker. A little tougher when you're back there behind home plate, but you can see why Justin Grimm would like to have had that pitch called for a strike. Would have got him out of the 8th inning. That's one reason.
Kyle McClellan out in the bullpen loosened up. Mike Maddox waiting until Eric Cooper started on his way out to the mound. I thought maybe Mike was going to have something to say to Cooper, but he either refrained or didn't have that in mind. So 1 on, 2 out. Esturas 1 for 3 tonight with a second inning single. Grimm working from the stretch. Drops a breaking ball over the outside part of the plate. 0-1. Esturas now has extended his hitting streak to 4 games. One ball and 1 strike. Esturas on this road trip for the Blue Jays hit safely in every ball game. Goes the other way, and that's out of play. 1-2. But don't forget, now tomorrow's an afternoon game, a 3:05 start here at the ballpark. Josh Lindblom and R.A. Dickey, former Ranger, will hook it up. Breaking ball hangs outside. Then the finale of this 4-game set on Sunday afternoon. That's a 2:05 game. Derek Holland and Chen Ming Wang. Two and two. Up the ladder goes McGinnis, but not quite high enough. That's into the corner. Rasmus being waved around third. The throw is cut off. In to score is Colby Rasmus. The RBI double by Maicer Esturas, and it is a 7-0 Toronto lead. And Ron Washington out of the dugout. That's going to do it for Justin Grimm.
Yeah, got that breaking ball up just a little bit, and it's about a foot over Chris's head. Kind of rooting for Justin. He battled all night. Made some mistakes with his fastball that got hit earlier in the game, but just a pitch away from getting through 8 innings. That would have been nice to get through and get that last out for the 8th inning.
The Grimm finish. Kyle McCullen coming in. We'll take a timeout. Be right back after this. A 7-0 Toronto lead. 2 out, nobody out, and 2 on it. Colby Rasmus lines his 11th home run of the year to right field, and that got the scoring started for the Toronto Blue Jays. Get a great deal of the really big spring event now at your Honda dealer. Kyle McClellan, the right-hander, on now to take over. Off-speed pitch into J.P. Arancibia. Numbers for Kyle McClellan. This is 4th outing in a Ranger uniform. Big slow bender. It's 0-2. Arancibia 1 for 3 with that towering home run to left center field. That his 13th of the year. Batting with Isturis at second and 2 outs. A run across in the 8th inning. Toronto leading 7-0. McClellan's 0-2. That's in the dirt. Soto smothers it close enough to home plate to keep Isturis at second. Blue Jays 7 runs on 10 hits against Justin Graham in 7 2/3 innings. A couple of walks, 4 strikeouts. Big breaking ball. See you later. Called 3rd strike, and that will do it for the Jays. They come up with a run on a hit. They lead 1. Bottom of the 8th coming up. 7-0 Toronto on TXA 21. Work to do. They trail 7-0, and they will not face Mark Burley. Instead, another left-hander has come out of the bullpen, and that is Aaron Loop.
We saw Aaron Loop a couple of times in Toronto. Throws from kind of a sidearm, 3/4 angle. Good fastball. Fastball was in the low 90s. Having a good season. 2.08 ERA. Been in a lot of games. This will be his 28th game. A lot of decisions for a late inning reliever. He's 3-3 on the season. Good strikeout to walk ratio.
John Gibbons very pleased with what his bullpen has been able to do, especially in the month of June. It's been outstanding. An ERA of less than 1, and they've been used a lot.
Yeah, every guy you look at in their bullpen has a nice little streak going. 8 shutout innings, 7 games without giving up a run. Almost all of them are on a pretty good streak of some sort.
Chris McGinnis 0 for 2 tonight. Little looper out in the shallow center, going out Bonifacio, and with his back to home plate. Blue Jays second baseman hauls it in. That is out number 1. And Craig Gentry coming up. Greg Gentry tonight has flied to left and been called out on strikes. Both of his at-bats against Mark Burley. Burley gave just 4 hits in his 7 innings of work tonight. Walked 1, struck out 7.
He had a couple of double plays, too,
Yeah.
that sped things along for him.
And a sidearm strike from Luke. Burley just has been awfully solid against the Rangers. At times we've
That's
seen.
14 innings and 1 run.
Yep. Changeup. And that pitch is nub foul. And you got a new left fielder. Rajai Davis has entered the ball game. It's John Gibbons' favorite move to make defensively late in the game. They have a lead. Melky Cabrera will get the rest of the evening off. 0-2 pitch. Call strike 3. Comeback fastball, and Gentry not happy that time. That's back-to-back called third strikes that Gentry has barked about on his way back to the dugout.
Well, that's that borderline pitch. No hitter is going to like it when that pitch is called a strike. Top of the strike zone, inside part of the plate. Very difficult pitch to hit.
First pitch to Leonis Martin is off the outside corner for ball 1. Martin, a ground out and a strikeout tonight. Luke, the left-hander, from the stretch. And hits the outside corner. He's got to be really tough for a left-handed hitter to face one time in a ball game. And coming from that angle if you don't see him very much.
Yeah, I haven't seen much of him, but every time he's pitched, we've been impressed by him.
Change up inside, and Martin able to jerk it foul. Knocking some dirt out of his spikes. So a little anger on that tapper. A 1-2 the count. Luke back to the plate. Down the third baseline. Foul ball. Eric Cooper signaling immediately that it was a foul ball. It was chopped right down in the dirt around home plate, and Cooper came out from behind the catcher Aaron Sebia immediately with his hands up saying nope, that's a foul ball.
Must have hit Martin, I guess.
Yeah, either Martin or Aaron Sebia. I'm not sure which it was.
I don't know. That didn't look like it hit anybody, in which case it's a fair ball.
1-2.
Ouch. That ball, I wonder, that ball might have hit him if he didn't foul it off.
Yeah. And I think he hit it right between his hands.
It was within an inch of hitting his finger, it looked like.
Luke bent over at the waist trying to get the sign. Now the left-hander's ready. Martin asks for timeout. Let's see, here's that last pitch. Yeah, I think it would have. I think it would have gotten him in the back shoulder.
Wow.
If he hadn't fouled it off. And that's a little nubber down the first baseline
That broke his bat.
Aaron Sebia out just to hope that it would go back into fair territory. It did not.
Well, the key to those pitches is don't swing at them.
That's right.
You'll save yourself a bat. You'll save some irritation to your thumbs, and you'll have it called a ball.
And you're not going to do a whole lot with those pitches.
Now, 5 and 6 are a little bit too far inside.
Yeah. Up the middle by second. Kawasaki unloads in a hurry and got him. A nice play by the shortstop. That'll do it for the Rangers. They are retired here in order. We're going to the ninth inning in Arlington. 7-0 Toronto. Top of the ninth inning, and Emilio Bonifacio leading things off against Kyle McClellan. Takes the first pitch. It's high for ball one. Bonifacio, 2 for 3 tonight. A single, a double, scored a run, and takes outside. 2-0 for McClellan. Bonifacio now with that average up to 216. And lofts a fly ball down the left field side. Will twist back about 5 rows. Over to take a look, Leonis Martin. And there's a familiar face down there, the ageless one, Darren Oliver. And Roos in that Toronto bullpen. Darren, of course, 3 different tours of duty with the Rangers over the years. 2-1 pitch. 3-1 now. McClellan sets. And Bonifacio pops one into center field. Jogging in kind of casually is Craig Gentry. That is out number 1. And now Kawasaki, the shortstop, coming up. Well, folks, the next postgame fireworks show is Friday, June 28th. The Rangers take on the Cincinnati Reds. And after the game, you'll be treated to a fireworks show presented by Big Green Egg and Morrison Supply Company. Use the coupon code FIREWORKS at TexasRangers.com for $15 upper reserve tickets. Munenori Kawasaki takes strike 1. Kawasaki 0 for 1 officially tonight. He grounded to short in the 4th inning. Other than that, has walked and had a sacrifice bunt. It's hit pretty well to right field. Cruz going back. It's over his head up the alley. Kawasaki is not stopping at second. He's going for third. Garcia thought about making a relay throw and decided against it. And Kawasaki with a 1-out triple as he plugged that gap in right center.
I'm sure that's one of the harder balls Kawasaki's hit this year. He smoked that ball to right center field.
It's his 3rd double this year, or triple this year.
He got a hanging cutter or slider. Drove almost the warning track out there.
So with the infield pulled all the way in now, Rajai Davis with his first at-bat of the night. See all the infielders up at the cut of the grass with the exception of Adrian Beltre, the third baseman. He is back just about even with the bat. Davis a 261 average against right-handers. This season, 304 overall. A home run, 5 driven in. 2-1. McClellan set. And Davis, it's a towering fly ball to left. Tagging at third is Kawasaki. The catch made by Leonis Martin. The throw offline, but it couldn't have gotten him anyway.
Even Martin can't throw someone out from out there.
Sacrifice fly by Rajai Davis, and it scores the 8th run of the night for Toronto. It's 8-0 Blue Jays. Rajai Davis with his 6th RBI, and that empties the bases with 2 outs for Jose Bautista. Bautista an 0 for 4 evening. Grounded out a couple times and struck out twice. McClellan spins him around with an inside fastball. One-0 pitch. Big slow breaking ball. 1-1. To center field. That pushes Gentry back a few steps. And the fly ball settles into his glove. That will do it, but Blue Jays come up with another run on a hit. And we're going to the bottom of the 9th inning. It's 8-0 Toronto on TXA 21. sponsored by your Texas Ford dealer. Visit your Texas Ford dealer and drive the best-selling trucks for 36 straight years. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T UVerse TV. And by TXU Energy. The right things right now. 1-866. Call TXU. The last chance for the Rangers. They will have to face an old friend in Darren Oliver. Third pitcher, all of them left-handers tonight that John Gibbons has brought to face Texas. Oliver will work to the top of the order. Jurickson Profar, who is 1 for 3, starts things off. And the first pitch is inside for ball 1.
Right now, the Blue Jays have 8 relievers, 4 righties, 4 lefties, and only 3 extra men on the bench. Sometimes during the season where your bullpen's getting tired, you need that extra arm out there. They might get to the point where they only need 7. They'll go with an extra position player.
Profar pulls one foul, well out of play, and the count moves to a ball and 2 strikes. So Profar at 20 years of age facing Darren Oliver, who's 42 years of age. That's the old and the new of it.
Could be his son.
1-2 pitch. Right off the fist out to the shortstop Kawasaki. That is out number 1 as Jurickson got sawed off pretty well by the 42-year-old. Well, 1 gone, and now Leori Garcia will come up for his first at bat of the evening. Garcia took over for Elvis Andrus, who was ejected after arguing the 3rd strike in the 6th inning. Ball 1 is outside. Garcia 176. 1 RBI, no home runs for the season. Going the other way and into right field, a base hit. Leori Garcia looked like he got jammed a little bit, but able to get it by Bonifacio, and that's the 5th hit of the night for the Rangers.
He just kind of sliced it by the second baseman. Bonifacio playing him a little bit toward the bag. Big hole between first and second. Rangers need a lot more of those.
Trailing 8-0. Here's Lance Berkman, who is 1 for 3. Berkman, a 4th inning single, that extended his hitting streak. Lance now has hit safely in 5 straight ball games. Double play grounded to short. That's going to be the 3rd twin killing of the night, and that is going to put an end to the ball game this evening. So the Blue Jays, with 3 double plays, giving up only 5 hits to the Rangers, blanked them. Texas being shut out for the 4th time this year. 8-0 the final. And we will be back to wrap things up from Rangers Ballpark in Arlington right after this on TXA 21.